You doing? And welcome to Friday. Yes, it's Friday, and I appreciate every one of you. Thank you, moderators, for moderating, and everyone else that's in the chat room and watching. Thank you. Trust that your day is doing good. Let me just invoke favor upon you. That favor that is the soothing kind of favor. Protect you because we can all use it. So, we have a special treat. We have a very talented person who is joining us. Susan Walter, how are you doing?
I am doing fabulous.
Excellent. Thank you for coming on. We've been trying to get a time set, and it just so happened here it is when the rest of the freaking world is on lockdown.
Yeah. It's like, what else do we have to do?
I mean, you know, if you're easily bored, well, then you got a real challenge because I don't think this is going to end anytime soon.
I don't either.
Yes.
I think we're looking at least a couple of months, probably.
That's what our governor had to say, that get prepared. And it's like, okay, so we're in
Yeah.
for the journey. And
Mhm.
thank you. I mean, where else are we going to do? What perfect timing.
Yeah. And we've got to find a way to, keep the lines of communication open and sharing open and,
Yeah.
feel connected to each other in some way. And what better way?
And in this community, we have figured it out. It's like, well, there are different ways to communicate. And there are ways that you can stay in touch. David Barry, who is one of our moderators in the group, I've actually been in his house in the astral plane, which was pretty interesting. Yeah. What can I say?
Not a talent I have. I would love to go visit my grandchildren that way. That'd be fun.
Yes, it's actually safer too. Who would have known? Who would have known?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So your talent, as your bio reads, you had a near-death experience as a child, and this offered you an opportunity. And I'd love to hear your story. I just, what you do, how you got there, and where you're at now.
Well, let's start with how I got there. Like you said, I am at the ages of 4, and then actually again at 6, I had near-death experiences, where I was, physically I was, undergoing life-saving surgeries. But during that, I went to this, like, probably the most beautiful park you can ever imagine, where I was introduced to some of my own personal angels.
What was the park like? I'm curious.
One of the things that, I just remember seeing all these animals running around, and the trees were they were massive. Imagine, the angels they were showing themselves to me at that time to be, I'm guessing, around 15 feet. And the trees were so big that not even they could reach the branches.
Wow.
And it was just, everything was just so green and flowers. And I grew up on a farm, and I was notorious. If there was a nest of little baby mice or rabbits or whatever, I found them. And I used to play, just very gently, kind of play with them. And that, so for me, and that's just what I saw was, like, all these, like, little nests of little animals.
Beautiful. All right, I
Yeah.
digressed. I just wanted
Yeah.
to know because I do believe in that. I believe that that is an actual place, but that's just
Mhm.
me.
Yeah, because and at the time, a majority of even my great grandparents were still alive. So I would, I wasn't necessarily greeted by anyone because I wouldn't have recognized anyone anyway.
Right.
Because I still was aware of my, who I was.
And this was what at the age of 4?
The first one, it was a 4, and the
Okay.
second one was at 6.
Like
And
6.
and it
Yeah.
was the exact same garden, the exact same, probably even, in my perception, even the same tree that I spent most of the time under.
Fantastic.
But after that, I could just see my angels all the time.
Just
Um,
like you see
yeah.
everyday people.
Pretty much, they are very transparent. For me, it's kind of imagine that ray of sunshine coming between the clouds. Imagine that just having a little bit of a shape to it and very light color.
I can see that. Yeah. Okay.
So that's how I see them. But yeah, I did not go over where super well trying to explain what I was experiencing to my parents in the 1960s in a rural farming community in Iowa.
I'm curious, how'd your parents handle that?
Yeah, at a certain point, I was just asked to quit telling those stories.
Children should be
Uh-huh.
what is it, spoken to but never heard, something like that.
Yeah, something
So,
like that.
yeah.
But yeah, so I just quit talking about it, but I didn't quit experiencing it.
Interesting.
And then fast forward to 1997. One day in January of that year, I just noticed I wasn't just seeing my own, I was seeing everybody else's.
Wow.
Um,
How cool is that?
yeah, and it was one of the first things I did is sat down. I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this?
Good
And
question. What are you supposed to do with this?
yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, and kind of why me, and typical questions we would all ask. And I was instructed very quickly that I was supposed to draw what I was seeing for people to help them make that connection,
Excellent.
to the spirit, to divine. And I spent several months arguing.
With the angels, with your
Uh,
guardian angels?
yeah,
Okay.
is the continuing the why me. I've got 2 teenage boys. I've got 2 toddlers. I wasn't the least bit busy with that.
No.
And one other minor detail, I had doodled up to that point, and I had been for the last couple of years before that, I'd been seeing a number of, particularly what we now call sacred geometry in meditation, and was kind of trying to portray that, but I really didn't really know how to draw or paint or anything up to that point.
Okay, now this is amazing then.
So,
Question, what was the purpose? I mean, obviously you lost the argument. I'm assuming.
yeah, obviously. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever tried to argue with angels. It doesn't
I'm gonna
go
say it
over
seems
well.
like a futile attempt to begin with, but
Yeah, they tend to be pretty persistent.
they have been around a while.
Yeah, they have. And they don't really have the concept of time like we do.
I have a question on my own personal interest. So, would you say that the angels that you have seen, are they human, or are they are of another species or of another being?
It is extremely rare that an angel has ever taken physical form before. And that is why they don't understand things like, time, because they've not experienced it.
Okay.
Um, the best way I can explain it in as to what they are in human terms and our understanding at this point is that they are an interdimensional being.
Mm,
So they,
okay.
I've even asked, things like, do they have like, a home planet? And it's not even, there's not even a clear answer to that. It's they're able to move and go where they're needed. And they are
Different
learning
plane.
just, and the different planes, and they learn just as much from us as we learn from them, really.
How fascinating. I guess what, and again, I only can think like a human, but I can project out there that if I didn't understand the concept of a planet, and if I am of the ethereal
Mhm.
essence, then basically your home is wherever you are at, I would think.
Right. Exactly. Hmm.
Okay. All right. I
Yeah.
just heard that in the back of my head. It's like, this is where
Yeah. It's
So are they on a mission and I guess, well, let me go back. Um is the concept good bad one that they understand, or is it
not really, not really. Yeah, because like for example, I know somebody that was in a severe auto accident, And as a result of the going through therapy and et cetera, ended up meeting his life partner. And otherwise probably they never would have crossed paths. So what that is in the long run is that really a negative experience, because he was, was brought to and introduced and, to this wonderful person that he's now life partner with. So yeah, when it all comes down to it, they're all just lessons and experiences and things that were here.
Interesting you say that. In my meditation session this morning, that was the conversation I was having with my spirit guide. It's the part of the freedom for me was that when I recognized I actually had a spirit guide, was the fact that the conversations are much more fluent now. And it's not a question of good or bad. Every experience within itself has a lesson that adds to our knowledge.
And spirit guides and angels, on my understanding and what I've been taught, are not exactly the same thing either.
Good point. Like, explain
Yeah,
that.
because spirit guides, from what they have taught me, have taken physical form before.
Okay, good.
So
Well, that
they
would make
do.
sense.
So they have an understanding of things like time and money and things that the angels do not.
Excellent point.
And where an angel is going to be with you your entire life, and many have even been with you multiple lifetimes. Particularly your main guardian angel has been with you all of your lifetimes in physical form, where a spirit guide is going to come and go as needed. They may be with you just as you go through a certain experience, and once that you have completed that experience, they're gone. Others may be with you for long periods.
Interesting. Susan, I think you're the first one I think that has ever distinguished that, because in modern vernacular, they're so interchangeable.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I had not thought about that.
And that's why, even with spirit guides, and spirit guides is not my really forte, but they're going to have a face. Where the angels that I draw, I have never seen an angel have a face.
So why is that? And I'm going to be showing some of your artwork here, that people can see that. So why is that?
Yeah, and I've asked that same question, and it's like, I see them in what is more their pure light form. Yeah, if they need to, sometimes they may take on a more human form for those that need that. But because I stepped into, during my experience, closer to the frequency in which they reside, I can see them in more their pure light form.
Amazing. And you use the term frequency because there's obviously a frequency of existence.
Right. Because when it gets down to it, an atom is an atom.
Right.
It's just what frequency it's vibrating. There's no difference between the atom in your physical body that's even an atom in your heart than there is an atom that the table my laptop is sitting on right now. It's just what frequency it's vibrating at.
It's an interesting, when you dig deep into that, to think that this whole universe is really basically atoms that
and that are 99% air.
So it kind of gives you, are we real, or are we merely an illusion of an experience? I don't,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think about that. I get very deep into now the infinite being, the all that permeates everything here. One could say the all could be basically an atom.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
encompasses
And
everything.
yeah, in some ways, for me, and conceptually, sometimes I think even if each of us is nothing more than an atom, that we are all part of that whole.
Yeah, yeah. It begins to help for myself and my growth curve. You get beyond a color of a skin, you get beyond a personality trait, because in the end, we're really all the same here. I mean, that's where my thoughts dwell these days. So getting back to the purpose of the angels, do they do they have different ranks within themselves? Or is there a hierarchy in their
Um,
existence?
in human terms, yes, but in reality, no.
Okay, I can get that.
Um, yeah, it helps explain things to us from our perspective at times, but really they do not. Um, yeah, the ones that we often think of as, call archangels, they just function at a slightly different frequency, even within them, the group of angels. Yeah, and
Well, it brings
it
up the next
that's
question. Do they have a
frequency.
name?
Yeah, and some of those frequencies I just think of as faster, slower. Not, we often as humans call it higher, lower, but really faster, slower is more accurate. Yeah, that slower insinuates to at least, a more something that's more dense.
Yes.
Whereas something that fast function is a faster frequency, it is less dense
I immediately was
and more
thinking about like
ethereal.
walking in the ocean. You know, if you're walking against the water, if there's a resistance, the density is there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Question, do they have names?
Yes. Um, Now, their true names would take us probably about 15 to 20 minutes to pronounce. They are very tonal, almost musical. And I
Okay.
know when I do the portraits, the last thing I give is what, essentially a name. And what they do is they spell for me a piece of it.
Okay.
And then that pronunciation is totally up to that person. There's no right or wrong. If they want to abbreviate it further, that's okay too. Um, Yes, because I've had, some of the names that have been spelled for me, some of them are all consonants, some of them are all vowels. Yeah, and they're typically not something like Ruth or Bob or,
Susan, I was just thinking because I'm a software guy, and it would be so interesting to build an algorithm to where if you could actually record their voices to see what it looks like in musical notes and then translate that
Mhm.
into a vowel or consonant.
If you want to translate it, they would come out to be the Solfeggio frequencies.
Fantastic. That just gives me goosebumps all over. I mean,
Mhm.
it answers a lot of questions. I mean, even in my background in Christianity is that, they said the one thing about Lucifer was that when Lucifer spoke, he spoke singing.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah.
it was and I'll use the direct quote is it was as if 10,000 angels were singing.
Mhm.
So how interesting. I bet that's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I'd love to hear that.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, that would be so
Mhm.
cool. All right. So because you do sessions for people, right?
Right.
I
Mhm.
left your website there. I'm actually going to be book a session. So what I did, Susan, is that I pulled together a montage of your drawings and
Well,
paintings, and I
thank
thought,
you.
oh, they're beautiful. So I thought maybe if you could just help us how you see this and how it's different for each person.
Yeah, it's the body is always pretty much the same with almost a majority of them, and their arms are always outstretched like that as if they're ready to exchange energy in any way you need it at any time. Their wings are what we think of as wings because light beings don't need wings to get around. But that's just part of their energy pattern,
Fan-
or aura, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, what their wings are, or what we think of as wings, are like fingerprints. I've seen similarities over the years, but I've never seen two be exactly alike.
What I get from your drawings is that it really begins to draw into the focus. We're dealing, like you said, these are light beams,
Hmm.
and in light, we only see a very small spectrum of what light really is.
Right. And sometimes that is one of my struggles, is the color that I see and finding, colored pencils that are, that is as close to that same color as possible.
That could be a challenge. I could see that.
Yeah, it's just like all the, because like even, just looking at a tree. for
Yes.
example. Imagine all the different shades of green you see in the leaves.
Yes.
And when you get down to it, there's only about 10 colored pencils that are green.
That that's almost like, basically, interpreting an ancient language. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know what it says, but yeah.
And I get as close as I possibly can.
I found this one very interesting, because it seems like there are beings or life forces even amongst them.
Yeah, they have different purposes. These three particular are, and actually all of them that you've shown here are not somebody's personal angel portrait.
Okay.
These three are what because there is another group of angels that goes by the name of Archaea, which is more a feminine aspect. Where the archangels tend to have a more masculine
Yes.
energy to them, the Archaea are the more feminine. So these, I call this piece the three fates. To me, they are the feminine aspect of the three angels, the three magi that were there at the birth of
Of
the
Christ.
being
Yeah.
we know as Christ.
Yeah. So what is on the left? Is that a bracelet that's or is because that one I was
On the one
talking.
that with the one that's green, yeah,
Yes.
no, that is a meditation tool that is found in the Sanskrit tradition.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do I see the Cardicus on the one in the middle?
Right. Uh-huh. And then the one on Claire on the right is a tool that was used in ancient Egypt during the ceremony of opening the mouth after a pharaoh had passed, which was part of the ceremony where they visualized the knowledge
Yeah.
passing from one pharaoh to the next.
They're beautiful, and I got to tell you, the way that you bring them to life is that number one, very feminine. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
get that impression immediately, but there is beauty here. There's a certain majesty to each one.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it's almost as though that it's a unique expression of each angel.
Yes.
Am I
Mm-hmm.
am I interpreting this right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. I love this.
Yeah, and on my website, I do have kind of a chart that gives you an idea what each of the colors mean and what energies then that green or blue or purple are bringing into, what they're helping you with, what lessons, that has to do with.
I find this one particularly interesting, um,
That
and
is
the
a being, that is Archangel Melchizedek.
Melchizedek,
Uh-huh.
with the Ankh on each side. But what I
Mhm.
saw here immediately, there is a passage in the book of Acts that said when the Holy Spirit descended upon those in the upper room, it descended with flames of fire, wings of fire. And
Mhm.
I definitely, and now that you tell me what this particular angel's name, it would make it makes sense to me. Is he a very powerful presence? He seems to be.
Um, yeah, to me, they all do. They just, their energy is, yeah, each of them has a different energy, just like, people do. They have different personalities. We have people that are more talkative, people that are very quiet and introverted. Angels are the same way.
I just found this one so fascinating. Um, Feminine, am I right on this one?
Yeah, there's times I've looked at that one and felt very masculine energy as well. That is an angel that's not really given me a name, but has given me a purpose. And they are a guardian, particularly for educators.
How fascinating. The
Yeah,
double helix, how did that interpret to you? I mean, I find it just, this one just blew me away. I mean, there's all of them, I have to say,
yeah.
done.
To me, any teaching and understanding that we're looking at, particularly with the sciences, but we're really trying to understand God or Creator or Divine, whatever name
Yeah,
you feel comfortable with.
yes, yes. Well, I just seen, the royalty of the purple in there, and it was just, and then of course the double helix, and then, it could also look
Mhm.
like it's the seed of, uh, uh, uh,
Yeah,
knowledge.
DNA, yeah, and it's forming almost like a staff.
Yes, yes. This
Hmm.
is so, I got to tell you, again, I am dishonored to have you on here. It's just
Oh, thank
so
you.
fascinating. This one I found very interesting. Again, it reminded me having the additional chakras,
Hmm.
as you see that hits the crown. Um, what is this one?
One of the other things that I do, as I see it, it's like a few months before a new year. This an angel comes to me and associates themselves with the particular. That was the angel for 2019.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah, I've even drawn angels of the month as well. And yeah, so they can be, yeah, so they're overseeing the events, they're overseeing, the souls that, choose to incarnate and take physical form during that year or during that month. Um, yeah, and,
Fascinating.
and I said, like, major events that are transpiring to help us all learn, different lessons and have different experiences.
I'd like to see 2020 because
Um, I bel Yeah, it's on the website somewhere.
okay, I'll go out and check this out. This one I found very interesting.
I think that one, yeah, that one's actually even behind me here in the
Yeah.
frame. And that is the angel of transformation. And yeah, it's like that green in the middle, it's almost opening up and revealing, yeah, another layer of who that being really is.
Fascinating. And look at the wings.
Like
They
butterflies.
yes, I also, it's so descriptive. Just
Mhm.
this one is interesting. What is that the name of the angel?
No, that is one of the angels of the month, and each one of them get the angels of the month, and these are the only ones I've seen that with, or they have that Enochian script,
Yeah.
is what that is down the side, and each one of those, had a little message,
If you
and
I'd love to know the message.
and
And
I
again,
I think is that October? I think that's October, but I couldn't. I'm not sure right off the top of my head, to be honest.
and the aura around them, each
Uh,
one is what you've drawn is different, but it's very distinct.
mhm.
So that you can actually, as I look at this, it looks like, how they actually imprint themselves upon matter itself. Um,
Mhm.
this one is interesting.
Yeah, that's another one of the angels of the month. Um, yeah, it's just to me, that particular one, those different balls that when you touch them, it looks like lightning's going out. And that we
Yes.
all play to them, but to me, that's what that looked like. And that was the closest way I could portray what I was seeing of that actual movement.
Fantastic. The necklace is
Hmm.
it has, for me, it reminds me of Egyptian.
Yeah, now some of them, I don't see that as often as I used to. Um, it's almost like the different necklace or the bracelet or the different things that they'd sometimes be holding would associate them with different groups, um, that have different purposes. But it's like, and I asked kind of why I quit seeing that, and that was because humans were interpreting that as, that there was, that some groups were better than others because of the, and
Ah,
that was not the case. What I'm seeing really now instead, I see another language, another script that goes, it usually starts at the throat and goes down. And that's to be a message from the angels to the higher self, so they don't need to physically understand.
I
And
love
you were
this.
asking about the 2020 angel. The one you are showing now is the 2020 angel.
This one I get really weird vibes from. I just got to tell you.
Oh, we're in a really weird time, so that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I had no idea things were going to end up going quite in the direction that
I mean,
we have this year, but
it's not foreboding, but it's
no,
you know,
it's just like there's different, almost like different layers of things and lessons that are coming with this year.
yes, yes, yes. And I saw that, you know, at particularly the midriff of the angel that
Mhm.
you know, this one just, I mean, when okay, so this is 20, it's living up to its vibration.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yes.
can say. It's like, wowza. I mean, whoa.
Mhm.
This one I thought was really cool.
That's the July angel.
I mean, I dig the vibe off this one. This is a gal who
Mhm.
knows how to party. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, it's so,
Yeah,
there's an
very almost celebratory is
thank you.
the way
Thank
I think of it.
Yes, yes. Has anyone taken the time to actually interpret the symbols that you have here by going into the Sanskrit?
Um, there
This
is
language looks so familiar.
you can find an interpretation charts if you just Googled Enochian script.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, yeah, I think they had, we have what, 26 letters in our alphabet. I think they
Yes.
have 22 or 23. I don't remember for sure, but something like that. So there's a couple letters they were missing. And um, and there seemed to be some letters that there was two or three that I was seeing that were not, in that chart. So yeah, I know. And for those angels of the month, I did make greeting cards with those, and
Excellent.
it's on the back of them what that means. And I'm pretty sure it's on the pages associated with those greeting cards, what that information is there
I'm
on
going
the
to buy
website.
some of those greeting cards. This one is such the energy. This one just, you know, this is love. I mean, it just
Hmm.
seems to have an overwhelming essence to it.
That is Archangel Aria or Ariel, could
Is
be
it?
pronounced either way.
Yes. Familiar with that name.
Hmm.
Wow. So what did you see on this one? I love the expression of this. It's just very, very psychically, it
Um,
really hits you.
yeah, it was very supportive.
Yeah.
It was, I think, was actually the most accurate word.
Do many of these come in and out of a person's life? I mean, is there times when a special gifting of an angel that will come into a person's life when they're maybe at a point in their life where they need that?
Like I said earlier, your personal ones they're not gonna leave you during a lifetime. But there are ones that, one of the things that's specific about the Archaea and the ones we call archangels is you can call on them and they can come assist for a time when they're needed.
Excellent.
But
Okay.
because they're not personal angels, they're not going to stay with you all the time.
That makes
They're just
sense. This one is just you just pick up on it. This one I found
okay.
very
Now you're
curious.
getting into other stuff. You're getting out of the
Oh,
angels now.
no, okay. That one was different. So I think
Yeah,
that yeah,
that was an octopus. That was a watercolor drawing that I did.
I think it was very cool.
I've been doing a number of different things, particularly the last 2 or 3 years. Where I've gotten into doing some watercolor drawings with watercolor pencils of different animals.
I
And
love
that is
this
a
one.
continuing series. That is an acrylic painting that I've done.
It's
And I'm having a lot of fun with different, with playing, acrylic painting on canvas and building up, creating, because that symbol in the middle is actually, it's built up using a substance called molding paste, which is a very thick acrylic paint that has no pigment to it. So I'll put that structure on the painting first and then build up to it. And then there's actually at each of the points, There's little teeny tiny, like this size tumbled quartz crystal pieces in that as well.
It's beautiful, Susan. It's just beautiful. Um,
Yeah,
y-
and those are the type of things I'm continuing to see in meditation.
are you?
And that's why I'm bringing out these different symbols. And a lot of them are associated with different faiths,
Yeah.
particularly ancient faiths, from times past. So.
This expresses creation to me, and I think just a couple of them, and that's it. That's
Mhm.
what I had. Well, you are so gifted. So, how does it work for a person who wants to contact you? What can because you had two that I saw. You have the one with the angels, and I think the
Mhm.
others were mandalas. Is that right?
Yeah, the mandalas, that's a whole nother series that took me 8 years to complete. As those are all based on what's called the Solfeggio frequencies that I mentioned earlier. So that's based on Pythagorean math and a lot of sacred geometry, a lot of science behind that. But there's actually 9 sets of 9 Solfeggio frequencies. And I've created a mandala based on each one of all 81 of those mandalas. There are different ways I've created to work with those images. I have prints of them as well, but I also have coloring books so that you can color them themselves. So so a physical meditation practice for you. Color your meditation.
I love it.
And then I also have meditation cards where those are little, they're a little bit bigger than 3 by 3, but about that size. So just different ways to work with those. It's like the cards, I've done things like held them to my body during meditation. I've set a glass of water, stones, crystals, essential oils and things on top of those cards to be charged with the energy of that frequency, because each frequency can help you with different things.
Yeah, yeah. Someone wanted to know, do you use chalk and pastels?
Most of the drawings I use color pencil.
Okay.
Creating the angels and the mandalas, I did color pencil. And like the angels, though, those are drawn on watercolor paper,
Mm-hmm.
and they do have a watercolor wash beforehand. So
Oh,
even the color of the paper that they have me use has meaning to it.
I'm going to get some of those. 8 years it took you to do that.
Yeah, for 81 mandalas, and each one of those mandalas took me anywhere from 35 to 50 hours to create each individual one.
Fantastic. I love this. And folks that go to the website there. So I'm going to sign up for the angel portrait. So how does that work?
Um, and this is something I just literally just started this week, where we can, just like we are doing this through Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
I can now do, I've now have that set up where you can go in, purchase the angel portrait, even I have some scheduled times available. You can choose your time, and then we will do, we'll create a Zoom where we'll be actually
Excellent.
do face to face. Or if you want to give it as a gift, I do have gift certificates available so that you can give that as a gift to somebody.
Fantastic. You and I'll be talking a little bit on that one. I think they would be great gifts. So you just spend time getting to know the person, or is it just some questions?
It pretty much, the minute I see your eyes, then I'll get the piece of color, piece of paper that what I'm supposed to use, and then they'll um, the shape of the body, for the lack of a better word, will come. So, and then when I'm getting about done with that part, then they'll start showing me what colors I'm supposed to use and what we call wings, and and then how I'm gonna gonna
This
make
is
a
almost like a
shape or
homecoming.
design or pattern out of that.
Fantastic. It's like a homecoming. I mean, you think
It,
about it. It's
yeah, it is.
yeah.
And then there always seems to be such a familiarity about that.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
I find it very helpful if you have a point of contact, and
Mhm.
that I'm looking forward to that,
Mhm.
particularly as you're where I'm at in life, to realize that all the times in my life where I've had several near-death experiences, the interventions have been obviously of a different realm. Someone was protecting me, someone was watching over. I mean, the events happened, but yet there was that protective factor.
Right. Yeah, and it protects you to guide you to, you know, to make that choice if you want to stay or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know, and there can be just as protective through the next stages if you choose not to, as if you are. Because yeah, the main reason they're with us is to help with the life lessons and things that we wanted to learn and experience in this lifetime.
Someone was asking, will they greet us when we pass over?
I think that's going to be your personal choice.
Interesting. Yeah.
Who do you want to be there?
Yeah.
I think that Robin Williams movie, What Dreams May Come, was really the best description we could possibly have of our understanding of what that next frequency or dimension that we're moving to is. We will create whatever we
That's a
choose to
powerful movie.
manifest.
I have to say, for Robin Williams, it was probably one of his best performances. And what we now know is that he knew he was dying
Mm-hmm.
when he made that.
Yeah.
And it comes out. That's a great. I'm going to rewatch that again. It's an intense movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But yeah.
Of course, dying is intense.
Yeah.
I mean, I
For some it is. For
yeah,
some of
yeah.
us it is. And it can be as comforting or as dramatic as we choose to make it.
Yeah, and that's a truth I hope everyone grabs a hold of, because folks, you can choose how you want to advance to the next realm.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought.
Right. There's on a soul level, you have to agree to whatever, however it is you make that transition. It is not something you may not be consciously aware of, but on a soul level, you are making that choice.
So I'm curious on this, for a human, for us, I mean, whatever you want to call us, do we ever advance to their level? Or is there a separation in realms?
I think eventually, I think we will eventually. We just, I think we're the impatient ones that wanted to experience all this stuff, and we're doing it in a very condensed, very short period of best of time is the best word I have for it.
Yeah.
We wanted to learn all these things really, really quickly. So this is the way we have chosen to do that.
Does everyone ever get through for one time? I mean, or is it?
From my understanding and what they have told me, no.
It seems to be the common answer everywhere I go. It's like, no, Jack.
Mhm.
And oh, by the way, you may have been here far more times than what you realize.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I'm one of these persons who think this thing probably way out, and I'm going, well, eventually the Earth is going to cease to exist as a planet. It has a lifetime of its own.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, so what do we do? Do we pick up the show and go to another planet? Is that
Yeah.
another reset?
If we choose to, yeah. And that's a type of reset.
Yeah,
We're
it would
going
be.
through another type of reset right now.
Aren't we though? I
Mhm.
mean, realities have definitely shifted. Do
But
they ever,
everybody that's here right now has agreed to be here and has wanted to be here during this experience.
do the angels, is this a unique time?
Yes. Mhm.
Can you shed a little light and maybe what you've heard? I mean, little,
Oh boy.
salacious gossip. We all
I
love the salaciousness.
of what we're going through right now, we're we need to collectively visualize what it is we'd like to ideally experience. Yeah, next in our experience is the time that we choose to be here on this beautiful planet. Yeah, because what we choose to create. Yeah, we have created this mess with and turned over our power to this group that we call the government. Yeah, and this is an opportunity to take more of that power back and bring that back more to our local communities. And we need to visualize what we'd like that to be like and feel like.
Mm.
Um, so if we want, you know, which group of those that want to control us, or those that would rather allow us to create, manifest what is in our best and highest good, or what I feel is in our best and highest good. That's my interpretation too.
Yeah.
But we need to visualize what we want here.
Susan, I mean, the show I did on Monday, I mean, malfunction or manifestation. And
Mhm.
we're in a situation, it was manifested by something, and
Mhm.
someone, in my opinion, is they basically usurped our power
Yes,
for us
that is
to.
my understanding as well.
Thank you, ma'am. That's exactly what I sense.
Mhm.
Um,
So this is an opportunity for us to take that back.
mm, 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 mm. We need teaching on that. I'm attempting to do it here, but this is a hard script to break.
Yeah, it is, because we've gotten so used and so spoiled to just be able to go to the store and just buy whatever it is we want.
Yeah,
We need to change that and get back to growing our own gardens. You know, being being more responsible for what it is we want taking place in our own communities.
I love it. I agree with
And we need learning how find the weavers, learn how to make our own fabric again. All these different things we need to relearn how to do.
you. Just brought up something. I mean, do we have any weavers in the audience? I mean, I would love. These are the type of things, Susan, that there needs to be more on YouTube about, something that, you know,
Hmm.
we.
I don't know, to be honest. That's not something I've looked for. I know there are YouTube videos on how to crochet and how to knit, and there's we all know there's tons of stuff on cooking right now.
Yeah.
um
Do you know how
but
many people don't know how to cook?
you'd be surprised. I know I'm not that good at it. I'll admit.
We actually had someone write me and ask how to use a can opener. They're 23 years old. They've never had to cook,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't know what a can opener, how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need to learn how to grow our own food again. So gardening. So I know, particularly, and I've started wondering about this just yesterday, and I was talking to somebody. Now that so many of us are going to learn how to work from home, we've got all these massive office buildings. Some of them are going to be at least, at the very least, underutilized.
Mm-hmm.
Why not start making those into places where we can learn to go and do all these things again? Even inside the buildings, we could do hydroponics and do that type
Well,
of gardening.
Big Al just is
Yeah.
saying that he is seeing, Big Al. Do you ever, you don't come into the chat, right? I don't know. Maybe you do.
I have a couple times and just listened.
Okay. Well, Big Al, he's a over the road trucker, and
Mhm.
he has been seeing a lot of crowd control military vehicles being hauled up and down the I-5 on the West Coast heading to Fontana. Little
I know I've
FYI,
I've
folks.
been hearing some rumors about such things happening. Um, I had somebody warn me to pretty much on Sunday and Monday to stay inside.
Good advice.
That there's going to be some, now, we don't know if those things will manifest or not. These are things that have been, from my understanding, have been worked on since at least Kennedy's time, if not prior to that.
True. True. Very true.
So, and other times have failed, so, or not succeeded would probably be a better way to think
Yep.
of that. But my understanding is we are extremely, extremely close to making transitions to a totally different way of living, from a different monetary system to bringing things back to our communities where we're not going to be slaves to this 8 to 5 or whatever time frame, these 40-hour-a-week jobs.
It's changing. It really
Where,
is.
the things like we were just talking about, the gardening and learning how to do all these different things. And
I'm telling our people here to do victory gardens.
Mhm.
It sustained us in World War II.
Mhm.
And when Americans got back into growing gardens, it's amazing. Within 10 years, the individual garden was contributing to 50% of the fresh vegetables to the markets.
Right. And we all have, there's so many problems with stress and anxiety and depression. I think us getting our hands in the dirt again is going to help relieve a lot of that.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I mean, I'm like a kid when I get to see. I love tomatoes and cucumbers. I love to,
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, when they come in, there's a satisfaction.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, there is.
Yeah, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I grew this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Susan, I tell you, you are so gifted and so talented. I'm,
Oh, thank you.
I hope that folks, do you have a YouTube channel?
I have not been, I do have done a couple of things where I've shown, shared a little bit of the crystal singing bowl meditations that I do and a little bit of that, but to be honest, not really. To be honest, this has been, even doing this has been really a lot harder for me than probably appears. And it's just something I've just started doing. I think I did my first interview like this in November of last year.
You're good at it. You don't have anything to be anxiety about. You have a natural flow about you.
Oh, thank you. I hear myself still stuttering just a little bit here and there. And I have sometimes I do a little bit of what's verbal dyslexia.
Yeah.
Because I am dyslexic, where once in a while I'll even change the order of the words in the sentence and what's in my head and what comes out of my mouth. But
there's a lot of empaths here. We're following you just fine. So, you have a gift, and I am so honored that you're a part of this community. I hope you tune in more. And I know you're going to get a lot of inquiries. I'm going to get there before the time gets all booked up. But
if times start booking up, I'll see what I can do to open up some more, some more day afternoons, to do angel portraits. And in between that is I'm doing doing the different paintings and other drawings that I'm doing as well.
You're bringing a gift to the collective consciousness of humanity. I mean, it's the artisans like yourself that allow us to go within, and even in stressful, uncertain times, which I contend most are, but it's folks like you that bring us back to our humanity. It's true.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
Well, that's exactly what you bring, Susan. And it's that gift. It's the same with Kaz Hawks and her ability to compose music. It's the expression that your gifting allows the rest of us to say, I'm still human and this impacts me. That's what it's about. So I keep on saying, go girl, go.
Yeah, I just want people to understand how not only how connected we truly are to each other, but how connected we are to what we call God, Creator, Divine.
Yes. Yes.
That truly is a part of each and every one of us.
You know what I got out of this show today? Hope. And I'll tell you why hope. Because there is hope in knowing that there is another species, another something that's here. They're not visible to most of us, those that they've give the gift to, as yourself. It affirms to me that we're not all by ourselves, as it can sometimes appear to be. And with your ability to see who is my guardian angel that I can now hold, that brings hope.
And that's one of my goals. So thank you for acknowledging that.
You have succeeded quite well, my dear. Oh, well, this hour has gone by. I'm telling you, I am so grateful that you came on, and this will be seen many times. And I'm
Mm,
just looking at some of the comments in the chat room. Uh, Everyone agrees, absolutely.
good.
So you have brought hope today into so many people's consciousness, and what a gift. It's that expression we studied yesterday. The hope that you give, Susan, is going to come back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over.
I hope I'm ready for it.
All right, well, just start getting the storage tanks. Well, Susan, I'll let you kind of take us out. I just want to thank everybody who's been in the chat room. It's just been going. Shh. Um, y'all have yourselves a strong end of the week. And so there's Miss Trina. How are you doing? So take us out. I'll let you take us out and give us a final comment.
Oh, during these times, please take care of yourselves. Um, Find a way to do something that nurtures your soul, whether that be meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, just something that where you're taking care of you and recharging your personal batteries during this time.
Well said. That's what we all need. Well, folks, go over to her website. I'll tell you, get to know her. I think this is someone that you have a great energy. And
Thank you.
again, I'm thankful. Stay with me as we get out, Susan. Everyone, thank you. We'll see you on Monday. Keep yourself in a good state of consciousness over the Saturday and Sunday. That's the best thing to do. And we'll see you again on Monday. Thanks, folks. All